The Toronto Maple Leafs are making massive moves with multiple players placed on waivers and a big trade. We'll break all this down for you coming up on this episode of Hattrick HQ. But before we get into that, we just want to say that 81.3% of you guys aren't subscribed. So if you're looking for a home to daily NHL and daily Leafs content, look no further. Go down below, hit that subscribe button, become a part of the Hattrick HQ community. But with that said, let's get right into the first topic of the video today, and that is Leafs waive Martin Jones. And as we take a look here from this tweet from Chris Johnson, he listed all the players who got waived today, and these are the notable ones for Toronto. They got Simone Benoit being sent on waivers. Kyle Clifford, Dylan Gambrell, Martin Jones, the big name there, William Lagesson, and Maxime Lajoie. Mark, obviously that's a lot of names. Obviously, with the preseason coming to a close, we were expecting some players to be getting placed on waivers, and I guess Martin Jones was one of them.
Yeah, that's the big one with this. When you look at Martin Jones, we brought him in as a potential backup. Clearly, Joseph Woll has came in. He's takes this backup role. We've seen him do it last season. I know I talked about Woll a lot, so I won't do it too much. But we've seen him. He can take this role. We've seen him start in the playoffs. He's an incredible young goalie coming up. And with Martin Jones, he was kind of just there as a placeholder, just in case an injury happened or maybe one of the goalies did not perform. So I do think with Jones on waivers, he will be claimed. It's hard to say, but I think Tampa will end up claiming him. If that bites us in the butt further down in the season, that's fine. But ultimately, we did give him a chance. Wall came out victorious in the backup role. So we do lose Jones. We do lose this goalie depth. If he doesn't get claimed, it's incredible for the Leafs as we have an NHL goalie on waivers that we can keep throughout the season. But ultimately, with most of these guys, I do think they clear, especially a guy like Kyle Clifford. Granville is a concussion protocol right now, and he's out with a concussion, so I don't think he gets claimed either. But I think Jones is the most likely, and I do think he gets claimed, which kind of sucks as we don't have that third goalie. But farther in the season, they can figure out if any injuries do happen. So losing Jones does hurt, but it's not the end of this year.
Yeah, we definitely hope that he clears waivers for sure. But with the situation that Tampa's in right now, you kind of gotta see that they are probably going to be looking at the waivers and looking for a goalie to claim today. And obviously, Martin Jones played really well in this preseason for Toronto. I thought he was a great goaltender, but you don't want to take the risk of putting a goaltender like Joseph Woll on waivers and then having that young goaltender be claimed up by another team either.
Yeah, that's the thing. With Wool, you don't want to lose him for nothing, especially with him being potentially the goalie of the future. So you let Jones go. If he does get claimed, like I said, it just happens. You lose this guy. You got him for nothing. But you're developing this guy in Wool to be the backup and potentially be the starter. So you do keep him. You do keep developing Wool. And there's a chance that by the end of the season, we do see Wool as the starter if he continues this progression, and especially if he continues to play from last season.
Yeah, definitely. I really do think Joseph Woll has a bright future in Toronto. But back to Martin Jones. Obviously, he's a great goaltender, veteran in this league. I feel like a team will definitely pick him up. But we do hope that he clears waivers so they can have that third goalie that can come up in a pinch. But even if he gets claimed, they do have a guy like Keith Petruzzelli who had a really good preseason game up in Toronto as well. So they're not really too far gone if one of the guys goes down. Hopefully they don't. But I do really think that these guys are going to have a great year, especially Joseph Woll and Samsonov back for opening night is just huge, like we talked about yesterday. We're going to get into our second topic of the video here, and that is Lafferty is traded to Vancouver. And as we take a look at this trade here, Toronto traded away Sam Lafferty to the Vancouver Canucks for a 2024 fifth round pick. And Mark, it just seems to me that this trade is strictly for cap relief. Obviously, Toronto was in a bit of a pickle there. I think they were about $3 million over the cap. But now trading away a guy like Lafferty, it definitely got him down.
Yeah, the thing with Lafferty, his contract was the exact amount that you can bury in the minors. I believe it was 1.15. So you could have ultimately put this guy on waivers today, hoped he cleared, and sent him down to the minors to completely take the cap from the Toronto Maple Leafs team. But the thing was, this guy would be claimed. As we've seen here, the Leafs did get a fifth round pick for him. It's bad to see him go, as he was a guy that we could play on the penalty kill. He was a good bottom six guy. He showed a lot of speed, grit. He had a big reverse hit in the preseason, which surprised me a bit. This is a guy that every team does want. The Canucks are getting a good player. The Leafs get a tiny bit of draft capital instead of just losing this guy for nothing. And I think this does open the doors for the Leafs to sign Noah Gregor. I think it's just a matter of time between now and when the Leafs do play the Habs that this guy will be signed in the lineup. And the 1.1 million is definitely something that they had to get rid of to clear this cap. They have to do a couple more things, but with this, it does clear a lot and make it a lot easier on the management.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you don't want to see Lafferty go, but at the end of the day, someone needed to go. Obviously, it's this Toronto roster is hard to crack this year, and it was kind of a toss up between Lafferty and Yarncroker who was going to stay and play on that third line. Obviously, I think Yarncroke did play better in this preseason to kind of solidify himself as that third line winger, but Lafferty did play good as well, and we do wish him the best in Vancouver because he is a great player, and I think Vancouver got a really good player here today.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Like I said, you don't want to lose this guy for nothing. As a guy, if you put him on waivers, he was 100% claimed immediately. It just going down the list, one of the top 10 people on the waiver claims would have ended up taking him, if they, especially if they had cap space. So you get this fifth round pick. This could come in handy maybe during the draft where the Leafs don't have a second and third this year. Or it might be a situation where you see a trade at deadline where they throw this as a little sweetener along with a few other pieces to get a bigger name. So ultimately, the Leafs do come out on top. The Canucks get a good player. Everyone kind of wins in this situation because we do have a guy like Gregor, which brings the speed that Lafferty did as well. So overall, I don't think it's this major of a thing to be concerned of losing Lafferty, but I do wish he was on the team. I did like his game, but the Canucks got a great player.
Yeah, that's right. At the end of the day, hockey is a business, and you don't want to be paying fines throughout the season because you are over the cap. So someone did have to go here, and it ended up being Lafferty. And like you said, you can get Noah Gregor in for a little bit cheaper, kind of the same type of player. I really do think that he will definitely get signed. I think he's shown in this preseason that he deserves a contract. It's just a matter of time until he gets it signed.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I say Gregor's going to be signed by tomorrow. The big thing is too is we had to clear this 1.1 million just to get underneath the cap. So it was a good move. It had to be done. And ultimately there had to be sacrifices. We see Jones and Lafferty gone. We might see a couple of guys that we did place on waivers be claimed as well. But we did keep the core. We kept everyone that we wanted. All the young guys like Wool and everything like this are still on the team. So we didn't lose things that we couldn't.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you said, this is a win-win for each team. Toronto gets under the camp. Vancouver gets a nice middle six to bottom six guy that they can kind of float up and down their rotation throughout this season. And, Toronto gets that draft capital back. And we're going to get into our next topic of the video here, which a lot of Leafs fans are going to rejoice over. The Leafs are finally under the cap. I know me and Mark have been saying this for probably the last 2 months since we've been doing these videos that they need to get under the cap. And today was the day that they were under the cap. As you take a look here, they are positive $169,000 in cap space. And now with this trade and some players being set down, we can start to look at what this lineup will look like for being cap compliant. Is pretty much what me and Mark went through here. All the same, you can just take a look at it. Pause the video if you want to take a deeper dive into this. And obviously, here are the defense and the goalies. Like we said, Eli Samson, Joseph Wall, with Muzzin, Murray, and Timmins on the IR. And Mark, obviously, this is a thing that me and you have been looking forward to here because it was getting a bit long there, waiting for them to get under the cap. But today they finally got under it, and they can start to look forward to opening night.
Yeah, that's a big thing. When you look at this kind of the top six and the bottom six on this, we kind of knew this, minus the Minton, where this came out of nowhere, and he seems like he's 100% making this team for opening night. A guy like Gregor hasn't signed his contract yet. With this one, you can sign him anywhere between that 750 to just under 900,000 on the 1 year deal. And it's nice too because with this lineup, you can run an extra man. Like Bobby McMahon hasn't been sent down, he hasn't been put through waivers. So it's speculating that he'll either be put on IR just in case there was a bit of an injury, or they'll keep him as just a scratched forward that they can kind of rotate in and out throughout the season. So overall, I do like how this lineup looks. We do get the more flexibility of running the 21-man roster instead of running a less defenseman or a less forward in the lineup. And with Timmins, he is going to be placed on LTIR, so long-term injury reserve, with this, you'll see the situation of him being placed on that maybe later today or tomorrow. They might need to make a tiny bit of room to do this. So if you see the situation of, oh, Nyes was sent down to the AHL, it's just a 1 day thing. They'll send him down just to get over the cap so they can put uh, this on the IR and everything like that. So there's nothing to freak out about. If you see one of these rookies get sent down, it's going to be a 1 day thing. Nyes is 100% going to be in the lineup for day one. Minton's going to be in here. We're going to have a guy like Gregor, and Bobby McMahon's just going to kind of float around until he can get into his lineup. Ultimately, I am super psyched about this team, and I think everything looks perfect.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the most exciting Toronto Maple Leafs teams to watch throughout this season. I think with all the grit and stuff like that that Treliving has added over this off season when he joined the Leafs organization, I think this Leafs team is going to be way more successful than in past years. And with all their young guys finally, hitting their prime, like Nylander, Marner, Matthews, all these guys are in their prime right now, and I think they're just going to be in for a great year.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. Even with this team, we have so much depth throughout the lineup, and we still have these AHL guys that can be called up, like Robertson, Steves. We have a guy like Pontus Holmberg. We see Bobby McMahon, who may actually make the team as just a healthy scratch throughout this beginning of the season. So I think this is one of the deeper teams we had. We had a guy like Gregor, especially. He brings that speed, a bit of offense. The fourth line looked good. Our third line looks super exciting with two rookies and a guy like Jaron Croak in there as well. So overall, I think this team's gonna be super exciting. It's definitely gonna be something to look out for at the start of the season to see how everything gels. And I'm excited to see this goalie battle between Samsonov and Wall now that Jones is gone, because not only were they kind of fighting for the two goalies to make the team, but I think there's gonna be a huge battle on who's the starting goalie come playoffs.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you there, and I'm just gonna lead the viewers with one final comment here on this. I really do think that Brad Treliving has had probably one of the best off seasons in the history of the Toronto Maple Leafs, bringing in guys like Pertuzzi and Domi and all these guys that he brought in, Reeves too. I just think it's such a good moves from Brad Treliving. I think he pulled off a great offseason, and even today with the moves he did today, they were great as well. Lafferty getting them under the cap, without placing all those players on waivers. I do really think he had a great offseason, and I really do think we'll see it pay off coming opening night and into the season. But we're going to get into everybody's favorite topic here, and that is comment of the day. And the comment of the day today goes to Top Shot. He says, I think the team we see on opening night will be a lot different by the playoffs. Mark, it seems like this every year. The team we see opening night is different come the end of the year with trades and moving up and down. What do you think about this?
I think the Leafs are going to go full out this season. We might see a trade at deadline that kind of shakes up the team a bit. I do think a defenseman, a big guy, Zadorov, I know you guys are sick of me talking about him, but a guy like Zadorov would look incredible on this team. So I do think there will be a trade at deadline. It might be a couple small pieces. Just say there's a situation where Minton gets sent down to the juniors again, and you need to kind of fill the role. There might be an injury or two, but I think ultimately there is going to be a move. I think the Leafs are going to be actively trying to improve this roster, especially if it comes to trade deadline and they're in the President Trophy race. I could see them acquiring one or two guys, a couple depth pieces, a big guy, maybe a third string goalie. But I think this team is pushing for it. I think they want to make this statement with new management this year that they're going for the cup, and there's a huge chance that they do win it.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you. And you know that we're going to be here all season long to keep you guys up to date of what's going on around the league and with the Leafs, so you're not going to want to miss it. So make sure to go down, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 2,000 subscribers, so we'd really appreciate it if you went down and hit subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to go down below, hit that like button, leave a comment down below what you think on all these moves that came out today. Let us know. Maybe you'll be featured on the next comment of the day. And if you like the Leafs, make sure to check out this video coming up on your screen right now. But I've been KC alongside my co-host Mark Pye. Keep your stick on the ice.